Hi friends, today we are going to discuss on one of the most cost-effective methods of short-term funding that is used in trade financing, which is called letter of credit discounting or LC discounting. I have done a short video on LC and its process. The link of the same is mentioned in the description box below. Kindly refer to that so that you can have a comprehensive understanding of what is LC discounting and how it operates. What is LC discounting? LC discounting, in simple words, is a process where the seller or the exporter can receive the funds against the submitted LC documents on a prior date rather than waiting till the maturity date of the documents. Now, this discounting process is applicable only to use and LC and not to site LCs. The link to my video on site and use and LC is also mentioned in the description box below for your reference. Now let's see how the whole discounting process works. Following the shipment of the goods, the seller submits all the required documents to his bank and subsequently these are sent to the buyer's bank. On acceptance of these documents by the buyer, the maturity date for these submitted LC documents are fixed as per the terms mentioned in the letter of credit. The LC maturity date is the date on which the buyer's bank is obliged to make the payment to the seller's bank for the documents submitted. The maturity date can be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days from the date of the invoice, delivery note or the shipping document as mentioned in the letter of credit. In the normal course of the LC, the seller would receive the payment against these documents only on the maturity date. But in case he doesn't want to wait for the maturity date, he can receive the funds on a prior date through the process of LC discounting, for which he needs to submit a discounting application to his bank. On verification of the application and analysis of several factors including the legitimacy of the underlying trade transaction, the credit worthiness of the buyer and the buyer's bank, the risk associated with the transaction, etc., the application of discounting will be approved by the bank. Once approved, the seller's bank pays the seller the value of this LC documents. Now this process of discounting comes with a small cost that is referred to as the LC discounting charges or the LC discounting interest. This discounting interest is often calculated as a percentage of the value of the documents that have been applied for discounting and is computed for the period from the discounting date till the maturity date. The discounting interest rate may vary from bank to bank, but still it proves to be the most cheapest funding that is available compared to any other borrowings. Having said that, the seller has received the payment on the discounting date. Let's see what happens on the maturity date. On the maturity date, the funds from the buyer is transferred from the buyer's bank to the seller's bank, and if there is any shortfall in the funds so received due to any discrepancies, that shortage will be charged by the seller's bank to the seller's account. One point to be noted is that the seller can apply for the discounting of an LC document even before the buyer accepts the documents, but that too depends on the verification and approval of the bank to which the LC discounting application has been submitted. Now this LC discounting process has two major benefits. One is the seller improves his cash flows as he is immediately receiving the payment on the discounting date rather than waiting till the maturity date, and that too at a very less cost compared to any other borrowings. So this improves his working capital management to a greater extent. And the second one is the seller or the exporter can grant longer payment terms to the buyer through the LC, and this improves the trade relations between the buyer and the seller, and ultimately it results in obtaining higher order values and increase the business volumes. I hope you have understood what is LC discounting and how the whole process works. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.